Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Kath, the creator of The Content Bug, and I am here to help you follow your passion by growing your audience online. Now, recently I've been getting a ton of questions about Pinterest. I have received comments on my blog, emails, DMs, and so much more from you guys wondering if Pinterest is still the place to be and what's really going on with Pinterest. Can it still drive traffic to your blog, and is it right for you to continue to keep putting your efforts into Pinterest? And I figured, why not just break the news right here on YouTube and just create a whole video about what's been going on with Pinterest, why your old strategy isn't working, and kind of like break some of the myths that have been going on. So I received this one email that specifically asked if there was any big changes going on with Pinterest. People are thinking about getting rid of it completely out of their strategy. It's no longer driving traffic. It just seems to be a waste of their time. Are there any new tips and tricks to get Pinterest back to the way it was, meaning improving your page views and generating organic traffic? And when I got that email, it kind of hit me because it was like, okay, I've noticed that there has been a difference in Pinterest recently, but the funny thing is, one of my blog posts just ended up going viral on Pinterest, and I'm getting a ton more page views than I was in the past. So some of it wasn't really relevant to me, but there are some big changes within the Pinterest algorithm that are causing a lot of bloggers to lose their page views, lose their visibility from Pinterest, and it's something that you need to know about. So a few months ago, I think it might have been 2 months ago, maybe 1 month ago, Pinterest announced that they were changing the algorithm. Now, every single social media platform has an algorithm, and they change the algorithm regularly. If you listen to any of my SEO stuff that I talk about, Google, of course, changes their algorithm so much it's impossible to keep up with, I swear, but every other platform changes their algorithm as well. And Instagram came up with a new update how they were actually changing their algorithm. They're still keeping the algorithm, but it's going to be more of who posted recently popping up instead of what you might like popping up. So that's an interesting thing about Instagram. Totally separate subject. For Pinterest, they changed a couple things. The first major thing is that Pinterest wants you active on the platform. If you are using automators like Tailwind or Board Booster, right? Those aren't going to work as well as they have in the past. If you are just completely automating your Pinterest strategy, it's not going to work. And actually, a lot of people are ditching those platforms completely and just pinning directly on Pinterest. Pinterest wants to see that you're actually active on the platform and not that you're just automating it. They don't want your account to seem like a robot. They want you to actually seem like a person. They want you to be active, engaging with accounts, following new people, sharing pins directly on their website, and not just using Tailwind or other automators to do all the work for you. They want to see you active. So I am not ditching Tailwind. I refuse to ditch Tailwind, and honestly, I'm thinking about getting Board Booster as well because I've heard a lot of good things about that. If I do that, I will create another video for you guys. When it comes to using Tailwind, I don't use it as aggressively as I did before. So I was pinning 40 to 50 pins a day. And as I learned that the Pinterest platform or the Pinterest algorithm changed and that they want you actually pinning on their website, I ended up reducing my strategy. So I'm only pinning around 30 to 40 times a day, and then I will go in at least 3 days a week and share 10 pins manually. Now, I know that I could be doing so much more. I could be sharing a lot more pins manually direct on the Pinterest platform, but I think it takes time. And there are some strategies out there. People say that they have strategies where it takes 20 minutes, but I end up taking a lot of time because I want to make sure that it is a quality pin, that it has a good link to it, that it has a good description. And that's why I like using Tailwind, because it checks all that stuff for me. So that is one big change. If you have been completely automating your Pinterest platform, you need to go back to not 100% automating it. I use Tailwind to keep my account active at all times. So if I can't get to my Pinterest today, it's not a big deal. I'll get to it tomorrow because Tailwind is still keeping it active. I also like Tailwind because of Tailwind tracks, but that's a separate topic as well. Another big change that came along with the new Pinterest algorithm is secret boards are now hurting you. So what that means, through Pinterest SEO, there's a lot that's taken into consideration. And one of the things is your activity level on all of your boards. So if you are staying active on your boards, and now it's not just taking into consideration the boards that you are a part of, including your group boards. It's not just taking into consideration the boards that you have on your profile. It's also taking into consideration your secret boards. And if you are not active on your secret boards, those boards are actually hurting you. And they came out with a new feature called Archive, and you can archive your boards, which means that you can no longer pin them. So if you have some secret boards that you still keep active, like I have a recipe board in my secret boards that I keep active. I pin to it almost every single week with new dinner ideas or lunch ideas that I want to try out. And I keep that active, so that still remains my secret. I've narrowed it down to 3 boards are in my secret, and I have gotten 10 plus in my archive that I don't pin to anymore. And that's the way you have to do it, because those secret boards are going to hurt you. So if you are still pinning to them in the secret section, then you can keep them there. If you're not pinning to them, move them to archive. And honestly, if you're using your Pinterest account as a business account, then you don't need those secret boards anymore. You can create a personal account if you want to, or if you want to make your Pinterest account look like your own brand magazine, you can have some of those boards. Even if they're not totally specific to your niche, you can have some of those boards on your account. It's not going to hurt you that much as long as you are staying active on all of them. And when it comes to group boards, people have the perception that they can only pin their content to group boards. So if I launch a new blog post, I have to share that blog post to the group boards, and I don't pin anyone else's stuff there. That's not true, because if you want your account to improve its visibility, to get more page views on your blog, then you need to help those group boards stay active. So you have to pin other people's content to them, you have to pin your own content to them as long as they are staying active. And if you are part of a few group boards that are not staying active and you notice that maybe no one else pins on them but you, then there's a problem there, and you actually might want to just leave that group board because it's not helping you, it's probably just hurting you. And then the last thing that Pinterest did that's pretty big, you know how most pins, they've got a background image. So you can see my pins have kind of like an overlay effect. So I have a flat lay picture that I'll take like on my desk or whatever I am choosing. I'll take a flat lay picture and I'll put a white overlay on it, and I'll change the transparency so it's about like 50% maybe, and I think it's actually like 70%. And I will make it so it's a little bit not in focus in a sense, and then I'll overlay words on top of that. So there's like 3 main layers. There's a picture, there's a overlay on it, a white or black or whatever color overlay you do, and then there's text. The bottom picture that you include in your pin, even if it's not a bottom picture, if it's just a picture you include somewhere on your pin, that actually affects where you are appearing in search and how you are appearing on the Pinterest platform. So let's say that I talk about blogging a lot. So I wrote a blog post, how to grow your blog, and the image in the background was of a butterfly in a field of daisies. Let's just say that's what it was. My pin would be less likely to appear with other pins related to blogging and growing your blog, and it would be more likely to appear for pins that include like nature scenes or butterflies and animals. Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's actually a really big problem. So if you are not including business related images, like, well, for me, the example I was going with, if I'm not including business related images, office related images in the background of my blogging related posts, it's not going to perform well because those two things do not connect. So if you are talking about fashion and style, you want to make sure that your background image or the image that you include in your pin relates to fashion and style in some sense. So that's what you really need to take into consideration. You want to make sure that your picture and your title actually match. If they don't match, there's going to be a big clash there, and you may actually appear for an area that you don't want to appear for. Now, what I was saying earlier, there have been some pretty big changes to the Pinterest platform, and those are 3 major ones that you really need to take into consideration. But overall, there has been a decrease in page views and views on Pinterest. And actually, I've noticed that they've had a problem, and I think it's the 16th of every month where they've had glitches in their analytics, and everyone's analytics says that they get 0 page views that day, or they get 0 impressions that day. And it doesn't really make much sense, but it's just kind of what's going on. I think they're working through their stuff, but the best way to improve your page views, to continue getting visibility on the Pinterest platform, is to create killer freaking content. That's all you have to do, is create amazing content, create amazing pin graphics that people actually click on. Pinterest is still a search engine. It is still going to perform very well for you. It is performing still very well for me, but that's because I have adapted my strategy a little bit. I learned those things and I immediately adapted my strategy. I have improved the quality of content on the blog posts I'm putting out. Pinterest absolutely loves, well, not Pinterest, but Pinterest users absolutely love list posts. So creating list posts has been huge for my blogging business, and you just have to create content that your audience actually wants to see. I do have 2 other YouTube videos here obviously on YouTube, that talk about how to perform keyword research, and I will include that right here. And then I just actually shot a recent one that talks about how to perform more advanced keyword research using the ads platform. You don't have to pay for an ad, you don't have to create an ad, but using the ads platform you can learn more about how many people are searching for the keywords you're thinking about using. So I will also include that right up here, and you guys can go ahead and check that out. But for now, that is all that I have to say when it comes to Pinterest. Don't ditch it. Don't ditch it. It's not going to be worth your time. It is a long-term strategy, just like any SEO, just like Google. It is a long-term strategy, and you need to look at it that way. So do not ditch Pinterest. It is still my top performing driver of traffic to my blog. I hope you found that helpful today. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to get more actionable tips like this on how to grow your audience online. And I will see you in another video. Bye, guys.